Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Green. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Green is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview Sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Do you want to become insanely successful? Do you want to be the go-to guru in your industry? Do you want to be talked about for all the right reasons? For over 40 years, Kevin Harrington has helped people just like you become significant influencers. Now he's broken the process down in the Key Person of Influence roadmap, and it's yours for free. Just text KPI to him at 727-888-2100. Text KPI to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free step-by-step guide. Text KPI to 727-888-2100 to get the recognition you deserve and experience the success as the go-to voice everyone listens to in your industry today.
Welcome to the Sharkpreneur Show. This is your host, Seth Green. Today I have the good fortune to be interviewing Jim Baker from mbtaxconsultants.com. Jim's got a fascinating business that goes way beyond just traditional accounting. We're going to dive right into that in just a minute. Jim, thanks so much for joining us.
Seth, thanks for having me here.
Sure. Let's go back in time a little bit. How did you get started in your field?
Well, I guess going way back, in college, I was doing general business and I found accounting when I had my first accounting class, found it interesting, and then moved forward. I got in public accounting for a number of years, 10 years, and through a couple of different firms and everything, was great. But then decided to offer better service and do it better than them and started my own practice.
Congratulations. How long ago was that?
About, I guess, like 3 years.
Okay. All right. So what were you frustrated with that you said you wanted to do it better? What didn't you like?
I guess I was a little more ambitious. I was from working in New York, and then I moved to Miami, and I had a little bit more free time. People don't work as hard down here. And I was working and commuting like 60, 70 hours a week in New York. When I came here, I had my 40 and I walked home and I had all this extra time. I wanted to do more sales, more marketing, and all the other stuff that comes with being an entrepreneur. And I found that all very interesting. So I spent my last working years, all my free time, learning how to sell and market and just learning about being an entrepreneur. And then I was more prepared for taking the leap when I did.
That makes a whole lot of sense, and obviously very smart of you to explore more than just your craft, but obviously the business of delivering your craft to the right clientele. You've got kind of a different practice than most traditional vanilla accountants. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, for sure. So, there's tax preparers are a dime a dozen. You'll see a little H&R Block or Liberty Tax, and then like little tax prep shops, and that's fine. I think it's going by the wayside. And there's people that do just accounting and bookkeeping. I'm a CPA. I know how to do that. But what we focus on is tax planning. So we find businesses that are making a lot of money that just every year go and do their taxes. There's a lot of deductions they're missing out on. So if you're making a lot of money and you haven't like made a proactive plan on how to pay less taxes, you're almost certainly overpaying your income taxes. So we meet with clients, we review what they're doing, and we develop tax plans to help them lower their annual tax bill.
Okay. So
for the business, that's it. Yeah.
So I want to make sure that our listeners and our viewers hear that because most of them are entrepreneurs and business owners. So if you don't have a forward tax plan, you are probably overpaying on your taxes. Can you give us some examples of situations that you've helped clients with where you found out, hey, you're overpaying by X amount because you're not doing Y? Yeah,
well, almost certainly. So it all starts out with how you're organized. As in the US, you have a lot of different options. You can have just an LLC, an S corporation, a C corporation, and there's different pros and cons to each. But once you get to the point where you're paying taxes, you're making at least 50, 60,000 net, and you're starting to pay some significant taxes. There's a lot of things that you can do to make sure you're structured properly and that you're claiming the most expenses that you can, because a lot of the ways we look and find ways to legally include expenses that you wouldn't normally be able to include in taxes. And really just doing it right saves people a lot of taxes. Most people are just set up incorrectly and not keeping proper track of their expenses. So that's like easy stuff that almost every client is doing wrong. And then there's more advanced stuff depending on the industry and the way you're operating. There's different things we can do to, the goal is to like accelerate expenses so you pay less taxes now, and defer income so you have less income now and you pick it up later. Like that's kind of like the easy way to do it, like the easy way to put it, I guess.
Sure. So is there a particular industry that this works better in or that you spend more time on?
Yeah, sure. So right now, I'm sure you're very aware of this as well, as this is you. It's the specialist consultant, basically. If you have a specialized service, if you're a consultant, you're providing a service, and you generally have high margins, and once you find out your niche and you get enough clients, you're going to make a good amount of money and pay taxes too. So the majority of our clients, apart from the international practice, because we have a pretty extensive international practice, is mostly consultants, service providers, marketers, and not as much inventory-based businesses, because those are kind of being consolidated in the industry, either online. We do a lot of online retailers, but from bigger companies doing the wholesaling, the retail and stuff.
Okay, so that's fascinating. And let's come back to that. You mentioned the international tax practice. We do have a percentage of our listeners who are overseas. It's obviously not the majority, but for those folks who are listening or watching who aren't in the US, tell us a little bit about your international practice.
So it's depending on what you're doing, it can be a little bit simpler, but the benefits are better. I guess the most popular thing that we do is we help foreign individuals who operating global businesses open U.S. companies and accounts. So if you're based in Colombia and you have a Colombian business, but you have clients all over the world, which is the nature of our globalized society right now, is it's so easy to get a client in another country. It's easier and cheaper to open a U.S. company, a U.S. bank account, and invoice them and collect your fees from that company. So we help clients set up that, and it also has a lot of tax advantages in Colombia, and they basically pay no taxes in the U.S. There's no tax on a foreign-owned and operated LLC.
Wow. Okay. So there's no tax on a foreign owned and operated LLC. So does that mean, do I have to be a citizen of another foreign country?
You can't be a citizen or resident in the US.
Okay. So I can't be, so if I had a citizenship in another country and lived there, I could do business here and avoid US taxes and only pay them in my home country, which might have a much lower tax system.
Yeah, and there's ways to get around that. Certain countries treat LLCs as corporations, so if it's there's different ways we play around with that. And again, we don't advise how you do your taxes in your home country, but we provide suggestions. But I can tell you certainly that if you are not a resident, you don't have a green card, you don't have a citizenship in the U.S., you don't have an office or employees in the U.S., and you're having an LLC, the LLC does not have to pay any income taxes.
Wow, that's certainly an advanced strategy and very cool. I noticed you also do dispute resolution. What does that mean?
So that comes with a lot with the planning. So it's really the fun stuff is what we're doing. So when we get a new client, he comes to us and he was working with a bad tax preparer for many years. He filed his taxes wrong. He has all these penalties and interest and things like that. We basically talk to the IRS and we fix the things that were done wrong, and we arrange a way to get them, back into good standing. Whether if the business is defunct, we can do an offer in compromise and settle for, the classic settle for pennies on the dollar. It works, and I'm doing those every once in a while when it applies. But yeah, that's really it. It's kind of representing taxpayers who have tax issues in front of the IRS and just finding the best solution for them.
Okay, so you really cover the gamut when it comes to some of the advanced tax planning. You mentioned not keeping proper records and not being structured properly. What's let's say the third biggest mistake that you see most of your clients making that you get to help them fix?
So, the biggest mistake that they're making, well, it's either people don't pay their taxes, the people don't have good records, or they file their taxes incorrectly. Those are the mistakes. That's really, those are broad categories. There's a lot of different ways to file your taxes incorrectly, but if you're not keeping records and you're not filing your returns or you're not paying your taxes, that's the issues you're going to have. So, that's, I guess the most common thing is people, like consultants especially, they make money, they're growing their business, they're doing their thing, and after a year, they have nothing saved up for taxes. they end up having made $200,000, and then they have a $50,000 tax bill, and they don't have that money left because they've been operating. So that's kind of a big resolution thing that happens. And we have to figure out how we can keep the IRS from levying your accounts and putting liens on your properties.
Right. Obviously, we don't want that. That is the power of the.
Yeah, the IRS can do whatever they want. They can take money from your bank account. So you have to work with them. Otherwise, they'll just take your money.
Well, it is good that we have people like you to fight on our behalf. So what do you like best about what you do?
Oh, it's easily as the interesting types of clients I get to work with. And I talk to business owners with all kinds of interesting businesses. They live in different parts of the world, and they're doing interesting things. And they're all most people are generally really nice and interesting to talk to. So just the people I meet and the clients I'm getting in all different industries, I really enjoy that.
Awesome. Can you, without disclosing client identities if they're confidential, can you give us an example of a recent fascinating case that you worked on?
Well, the cases are good, and there's always like a good case. The one we're waiting for the final letter from the IRS, but a guy made a lot of money in 2006, 7, and 8. The IRS found out about it in 2014 and assessed him like $200,000 of taxes. And he doesn't work. He stopped working since then. He doesn't have any money. So we basically settled with the IRS for, I think the final offer was like $3,500 or something for this $200,000 tax debt. So
wow, that's one heck of a reduction.
Yeah, the agent said it should be okay, but we're waiting for the final letter so that we can, make the payment and be done with it. And it's a payment paid over 5 months too, or 6 months. So that's an interesting one. But most of the really interesting ones are from the international calls I get, because I do a lot on YouTube and a lot on LinkedIn. So I get a lot of people with inquiries, and I have these calls in Spanish that are just with people doing all kinds of crazy businesses, like in different parts of the world. Like I had a guy who called me, last week? I talked to him, and he has a nonprofit in Colombia, and he's trying to sell 20 tons of honey that he has from his giant bee farm. And he wants to know how he can sell it online. And it's just like, I don't know how you sell 20. I mean, I can tell you how to receive the money and everything, but you got to find the people who want this honey. So it's
20 tons. I was gonna say 20 jars. You could set up an e-commerce website. I don't think you can do that for 20 tons.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, well, these are the calls I get. So it was really.
Wow. Is there a bee honey wholesaler distributor who moves tons of
I guess
honey?
it's a guy who just has like 50 acres of land out there, and he just has beehives everywhere, and it doesn't spoil, so you can just collect it. So a lot of calls with clients like that.
That is fascinating. So you mentioned YouTube and LinkedIn. What's working best for you to attract these fascinating clients?
Well, we have a good network on LinkedIn. It's one of the biggest B2B networks right now, and I've been grinding at it, sending tons of connections, just reaching out to people and talking to people. And now I have a pretty big network, so I'm just putting content out. And I find that a lot of the really international tax specific content doesn't have very much, there's not that much out there. So it's easy to rank SEO for really niche stuff. And the only people searching for it are the people that need it. So even though I have a video, like my YouTube, I have some videos with 10,000 views, some with 6,000 views, but it's for international tax, I guess that's pretty good, because those are people who are really looking for that. So I get emails and calls every day from people who are coming to the US or have a US company, don't know what to do with it and things like that. And it's all from just putting out content about how to operate, how to fill out forms, and real practical stuff on my channels in English and in Spanish.
Okay, well, that's fascinating, and that's obviously working very well for you. We know your time is busy. I really appreciate you being on the show. For our folks who are watching or listening who might have tax questions, is mbtaxconsultants.com the first place they should go? What should they do? How should they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so our company is Mata and Baker Tax Consultants. If you Google that, it's specific enough. You'll find me on the internet, pictures of me, videos of me. I'm on LinkedIn. My name is Jim Baker, linkedin.com/Jim Baker CPA, and mbtaxconsultants.com is our main website. So if you just remember the company name, you can Google search me and you'll find me, Jim or James Baker, and that's pretty much it. Send us an email, support@mbtaxconsultants.com, or give us a call, and we're happy to have a consult and see if we can help.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate your time. Jim Baker of mbtaxconsultants.com. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Seth. It was a pleasure.
Likewise. Thanks everybody for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you next time. And make sure if you've got some of those interesting, complicated tax questions, reach out to Jim.
Yes.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.